Everybody for joining us today. This is the first of a webinar series where we are going to go through and review all the chapters of my book, all 8 chapters, and how I addicted to life, how I went from homeless to extraordinary success and happiness. And I want to assure you that we are not going to run a marathon today. I know everybody's in the middle of the workday, and we're probably going to run about 30 minutes today, if that. But I think most of you are familiar with the chapters of my book. Today we're going to talk about chapter 1, since this is the first of the series of the 8 chapters. But you've got to be done. The remaining chapters, just as a reminder, you've got to get uncomfortable and take action. Being done is just the first step, but taking action is what concretes everything that we've decided that we're going to do. Chapter number 2, you must create the wave of momentum. Number 4, you have to prepare now for what's coming. Number 5 is what you must be open to the unexpected. I know a lot of you have read my book and know these already, but just as a refresher, you won't always feel like you're winning is chapter number 6. Number 7 is you must understand the law of exposure. And chapter number 8, you won't do it alone. This success is a team sport, that's for sure, right? So today we're going to talk about chapter 1, you've got to be done. Now, why is that? Why that's important? Well, I can tell you that in my life, until I made a decision that I was done and announced to the world that I was done, nothing changed in my life. Absolutely nothing. We all know what this is. This is that padlock where if you've only got 3 of the 4 numbers, it's kind of useless. I continue to show up to events like this, and with an open mind and a pad of paper and a pen, it's amazing to me how many 4th numbers that I've gotten with all the events that I've gone to, and made a decision to turn the corner and go to the next level. Because I had those 3 numbers lined up. I had the information I need. All I needed was that one number, that one thing, that one tidbit that changed my life and allowed me to get it. You know, I was at an event this past weekend, as a matter of fact. I mean, here I am. I got a number of different companies. I got 50 employees plus, and I'm at an event that has that's titled "Building Your Dream Team," and I'm learning that once again that the 4th number showed up, and I really understood all those pieces of the puzzle. All those 3 numbers that I had from the past really clicked from a few things that were said on the 2nd day out of the 3-day event. It's absolutely amazing to me what continuing to show up to the education does. I just want to encourage everybody here, have an open mind and be here, be present for just this short amount of time while we go over a few things. And then I also recognize that we're all in different seasons of life. You know, I talk about this often when I talk about events, at different events. Most of you have seen this slide and heard me talk about it. I get the fact that we are all at different seasons, and that we're all at different levels in our marriage and our relationship with God and our businesses and our social life and our roles as a parent. $399 from your account. It's you don't want to get charges. Please call. It's amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me. The different levels that can all be attending the same event, but yet can all get different messages out of the same message based upon where we are in our own walks in all those different areas. So I try to present a message that's relatable to all levels. So I pray that everybody's able to pull a little something out of this for their own lives. So step number 1, chapter number 1, you got to be done. And you've got to say, I am done. Now, one of the challenges that we all have is, and I mentioned this in my book, is the successes that we've had in the past can truly be a roadblock to our future successes, because it's so much easier when the going gets tough to say, you know what, I don't need this. I don't need to work this hard. I don't need to put up with this garbage. I don't need to push past this wall. And just to sink back to where we are currently, and who's going to give us any grief about it? Quite frankly, in the eyes of the world, we're already successful, aren't we? And we're already doing pretty well, aren't we? It's that comfort zone level that we need to stretch out into that will test us and that will push us past our barriers that we need to continually step into. First step being, I am done, saying I am done, but the next step is being to continue to push past those barriers when those challenges come up. And we all have those challenges, right? So this is the 3-door GeoPrism hatchback that Claudia and I were driving around doing our thing. As for those of you that have read my book, you know, this was what we call the getaway car, so to speak. Everything we owned in this vehicle, in this world, fit in this vehicle. And quite frankly, I use this photo as a well, as number one, as a reminder of where we came from, but number two, as a reminder of where I would be if I did not say, I am done. I am done resting on my laurels. I am done just settling for what the world has to offer as compared to what I know what God has planned out for my life. And again, back to this previous successes being very easy to rest on and very easy to settle for when the going gets tough. This is a reminder for me that if I didn't say, I am done over and over and over again in my life, because this is, a lot of you know my story. You've seen this photo before. This is where I come from, right? And certainly I had to say, I am done to go step number one, because I had to become this guy. When saying that I was done helped me become this guy. This guy was a goal setter, a hard worker, a good husband, somebody that was no longer going to try and break the rules, that we're going to live by the rules, right? And what I realized was I just didn't want to be that guy, because eventually I realized that, there's more to life than just owning a business and just settling for that one, because nobody would have faulted me for just staying where I was at. Claudia and I were doing pretty good based upon the success of this one auto repair shop, to be completely honest with you. Nobody would have faulted me for that, but something told me that I should be not settling for that, and then I should be stepping up and going one more step and one more step. And I am done settling for that, was what we said to each other. We're done with that. That isn't what God put us on this earth for, was just to own an auto repair shop. So we decided to stretch outside of our comfort zone. We decided to continue to say, I am done. And outside of our comfort zone, more education. Outside of our comfort zone, more education. We continued to say, I am done. And, I know that God has put Claudia and I on this earth for something much more than what we were doing. And I know he's put you on this earth for much more than what you're currently doing. So I encourage you. We for those of us that were in Houston at the most recent event, we filled out a form that's called the 8 building blocks cleansing process, where we went through the step number 1 for saying, I am done. And there were many choices on that piece of paper. I encourage you all that are on this webinar that were part of that process. If you weren't part of that process and don't have that clarifying process form, I want to encourage you, hop on the website and grab that form. We'll get you one. But I really want to encourage everybody here to go through that process to figure out what it is that they're done with. What is it that you've been resting on your laurels, that you've been settling for where you're at, that no one's going to blame you for that, no one's going to fault you, no one's even going to know, because compared to them, you are one of the most successful people that they know. And quite frankly, you'd be ripping off the world if you stayed where you're at. I just want to encourage you to step outside and take it one more step, to say, I am done. Whether, for me, it's, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, sometimes it's even just late night snacks and putting on a couple extra pounds. I've always battled the weight thing, as we'll talk about a little bit, but everything that we want in life is going to be at the top of that hill. There's no coasting uphill. We've all heard that saying before. You're not going to coast to get to the top of this hill. And anything that we want to get out of life is going to have us stretching outside of our comfort zone. The first step to any of that is going to be to say, I am done. I'm done settling for where I'm at. I'm done dealing with this chaos, if that's your situation. I'm done settling for a marriage that's just mediocre. I'm done settling for a bank account that's just mediocre. I'm done settling for a relationship with my kids that's just mediocre. I am done. And then we take the next steps, obviously, which is getting uncomfortable and taking action. So we all know there's no coasting to get there. Many of you know that when I talk about my weight, I had to make a decision. When another area of my life, I had to say, I am done. And, once we make that decision, not just to ourselves, because that's easy to back out of, but to the world, we make that decision. And over time, if we continue to take action, things change. There's my humility shot there. Many of you have seen my fat photos before, but some of you haven't. But quite frankly, there's no reason why any of us can't be living the life of our dreams. And dreams change, challenges change. The things we want in life changes as our seasons change, don't they? So going through the clarification process and figuring out what you're done with. What is it that you're done living in that one area of your life, the way that you've been living? What are you done with, and what are you willing to get uncomfortable and take action to change? Step number one, I am done. And meaning that I am done. And sharing that thought, those words with somebody else in your life and saying, I am done with this extra weight. I am done with this chaos in my business. I am done with this financial education being where it's at, to where I don't know some of the things that are going on in my finances. I'm done with that. I'm done with the lack of communication in my relationships. I can relate to a lot of that, every single bit of that. You don't come out of a jail cell with great relationship skills. It just doesn't happen. The reality is I've had to work very, very hard to make those changes, right down to my penmanship. You couldn't even read anything I wrote on a piece of paper when I got sober. I made a decision for a year. I worked diligently on my penmanship to where I can now write things down, and people can, and it's not a waste of time. People can actually read what I'm writing when I get done. I had to say I was done with that. And I want to encourage everybody that's on this webinar, pick an area. You can have everything. You just can't have it all at once, right? As the saying goes, pick one area, just one area that you're going to work on in between now and the end of the year, and say, I am done with that. We're in the fourth quarter. October is almost gone. We've got 2 more months left in the fourth quarter. There's got to be an area of improvement in your world that you can say, I am done with, and share it with somebody else and take massive action and get that change. I wish that upon every single person that's on this call. I honestly believe that all of us should be living above the 3-door GeoPrism hatchback level. Let this be a reminder when you see one of these things. They're still around. I see them from time to time. When you see one on the road, I want to encourage you and remind you, let it to be a reminder to you that none of us has to shrink back for second best. None of us has to settle for where we're currently at in our world, even though the day-to-day chaos with to-do lists and expectations that are thrown upon us because of where we're at. Many business owners on here, I know some of the drama that we face on a day-to-day basis that most people that are just employees have no idea what we deal with. I totally get that. But amongst all of that, we need to say, I am done, and then make the effort to take action and work on those things that we're saying that we're done with. I know everybody here deserves more than they're currently getting in any one of those areas that we discussed earlier. I know that it's something that we all deserve. And, I just want to remind you that life is not a dress rehearsal. This is life, and the clock is ticking. And I want you to announce to yourself and the world that I am done. And with that, I know, like I said, we're not going to pull a marathon today. There's just a quick little brief message talking about chapter 1 and the things that we all need to do. And I'm excited to hear what people are going to come out of this with and say, hey, Rob, this is what I said I'm done with. You know, we actually did it at a table at the meeting. And I have a feeling that so everybody could see everybody else's answers and what they were, and we shared it with each other. And that's good, but it also doesn't give us an opportunity when we're working corporately like that to get personal and until we're ready to share, because that's how I am. I'll dig deep personally and and in privately, I mean, and then I'll share it publicly when I'm ready to share it. So I encourage every one of you to go through that cleansing process one more time. Go deep on what really is the biggest thing that you're done with. And say to yourself, I am done. And when you're ready, share that with your significant other or your mentor or your accountability partner, myself included. I'd love to have an email from any of you telling me, Rob, this is what I decided out of that conversation you had on October the 30th about chapter 1, I am done. I'd love to hear the changes, because what happens is I'll check back in with you, and hopefully your accountability partner will check back in with you as well and say, hey, how's it going with that thing? What's the progress been? What have you been doing? And we can keep each other accountable in the Addicted to Life community. That's the whole goal here, is change. For change and constant change, little by little, yes, but constant change to be taking place over a long period of time, where everybody at the end of 2020 can look back and say, wow, what a difference. Wow, what a difference in my relationships, what a difference in my finances, what a difference in my social life, what a difference in my role as a parent, whatever that category is for you. I know that we all deserve to be living filet mignon. You know, a sponsor of mine that mentored me in the beginning of sobriety says, hey, Rob, you can have 2 different levels of sobriety. Actually, there's many levels of sobriety, but the ones that I see, the 2 levels I see, I call it peanut butter sobriety. And I see other people with filet mignon sobriety. And filet mignon sobriety meant that they were working the steps, that they had a sponsor that they actually called, that they were involved in setting up chairs or making coffee or heading a group. They were doing the deal. And those are the people that actually had the best sobriety, the best living conditions, felt the best about themselves. The confidence level was strong. You could just see it in them compared to other people in the group. I think we all deserve that level of filet mignon. But the only, filet mignon, it's for us, for many of us, it's not sobriety. It's just filet mignon business ownership, filet mignon marriage, filet mignon relationships, filet mignon bank account, whatever the case may be for you, whatever category you choose, you deserve that level. But it's not going to happen by wishing it into place. It's going to happen by you making a decision, saying, I am done, sharing it with another individual, and then taking it to the next level. So I hope that's helped somebody. I know it's helped me. It always does. So appreciate all you guys. Looking forward to our meeting for the ATL community next week, which will be an open mic type of a sharing session as compared to a webinar. And really do appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Mm.